Fire, fire, fire. Ooh, a moon video. Oh boy. Hinge is completely fricked. Oh.
You've been single for a while, and it's starting to eat at you a little. Time is slipping by
Wow, simmer down!
quickly, and it's not coming back.
Fuck.
You should have found the one by now. Your friend is
Instantly
getting
attacking
married
me.
soon. Your roommate's going out on a date
Attacking
tonight with a
chat.
girl from Hinge. So maybe you should be on one of those apps. That's just how people meet nowadays. It's
Yeah, about
normal,
that.
and you're not gonna find someone any other way, so why keep on waiting? So you download Hinge, and at first you see beautiful, perfect women. This is amazing. The dopamine's flying, and hours go by, and you drift in a haze, hypnotically swiping left and right, waiting for the next match notification. Over time, any matches you do get
It's a
become
match, it's a match,
worse
it's a
and
match,
worse.
it's a match.
Suddenly, those beautiful, perfect women don't show up anymore. But you continue, and you message these girls to no response. Sometimes you'll have a conversation, and then it fades away, but one of them continues. At least it's something. So you meet up as two strangers connected by an algorithm. You pretend it's not awkward or unnatural, and you go on the same mid-dates at the same mid-restaurants and bars with the same mid-people.
Hey, it's not that bad. What do you mean? Just go out for a coffee, Lamau. Why you gotta spend money on the first date? I'm of the opinion that like you can if you truly like a person, you can make a date work even if it's not like a restaurant or an expensive or a mid restaurant. Like, yeah, why all mid? Why is it so mean? Like, it's not that bad. Go for a walk. Coffee ain't free. Yeah, but you can get a cheap coffee for like $2. You can. It's possible.
Over time, you realize you have nothing in common with any of these people. If you don't try to force it, you're left with the gut punch that maybe this wasn't as easy as it seemed. The solution comes with a notification ping. Hinge Plus subscriptions are now
I hate this shit when apps randomly ping you and they know you're like vulnerable. Games do this too, not just dating apps or whatever.
on a discounted summer rate at the perfect time. So maybe it really was just a case of not swiping enough. So you go back to the app over and over and over. Every day you use it day and night.
Whoa.
Over time the subscription discount fades away, and now you're paying full price while the matches begin to dry up. So soon you're on Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, Raya. 4 subscriptions now draining you weekly. You know this isn't really how it's supposed to be, but there's no other way out. It's just not
What the fuck? It's like $200 a month to do this shit?
normal. But there is something deep inside of you that you can't shake off. Who
Yeah, it's over $200.
is behind these apps? Who is it who's deciding your future partner? Well, it turns
A big, fat, evil man who just wants to make a buck off of you. Oh my god. Say it ain't so.
out that you've landed in the trap of one man's quest for total power. A man who is single-handedly changing how love, human connection, and families are made forever. But when I tried to figure out who this man behind all of these dating apps really is, I started to realize this was going to be a lot harder than I thought. But it's an important question to ask, because
Isn't it interesting that we looked at like the guy that made OF and how he was basically like an unknown dude and then he died of cancer? Isn't it weird how all these people that own Pornhub, you know, all those corn sites, and then they also own all the dating apps, and all of these people, they have like a lot of anonymity. All these people that you sell like either relationships or like the feeling of sex to you, they're all anonymous. Or like relatively anonymous anyway.
right now, 1 in 5 people under 30 meet their long-term partner with dating apps controlled by one company, Match Group, who owns all the major dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, OkCupid, Match.com, etc. And then there's The League, which makes you apply and wait in line to be accepted. There's BOK for black singles, Chispa for Latino singles, and Our Time for people over 50. It extends its
Our
grip
Time.
worldwide. In much of Europe, there's Meeting.
Dude,
In
they
Japan,
really
there's
rub it
Pairs.
in.
Across Asia and the Middle East, there's Azar. So it would seem at the surface level, the man deciding your next girlfriend must be the chief executive of Match.com, Spencer Rascoff.
It's important. It's existential. There's a loneliness epidemic and a mental health crisis globally, and it's driven by the fact that people don't have human connection. And I took this job because Match Group is one of the only companies globally that can make a dent in it. And it's important work, and I'm having a great time.
If you feel lost or lonely, he says
If you truly care about people, you do it for free. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not like a, oh my god, you have to do everything for free, but like at the same time, I think it's kind of fucked that you can do this. He's having a great time. Yeah, he's having a great time making a lot of money.
His apps are the answer.
This is the loneliest generation. It's the most digital generation. They actually need our types of services more than anyone.
Now, they don't even want you to make the selection yourself. Their latest idea is Overtone, a dating app where you're interviewed by an AI model that determines.
Oh my god. And imagine the AI model doesn't like what you're saying, what you say about politics or like certain topics. Can you imagine? It's not a human being, it's an algorithm.
Determines your matches, but he only took the job at the start of 2025, and he's the
like let's say it's not even something political, and it's like, for example, the most recent one where the lady murks 3 of her own kids and strangles them in cold blood. And again, I'm sorry for censoring myself. I don't want to get banned off YouTube. But you know what I mean? Like, what if it's on something like that where it's like obvious that it's something that everybody should be agreeing on, and it's like the algorithm's like, actually there's a lot of nuance to this and vibes. Like, imagine it's trained, like, in that way.
Status in a chain of executives who are constantly replaced. For once, the CEO is not the answer to who's responsible for assembling this monster. You see, the Match Group is a monopoly inside a monopoly much bigger than itself.
What?
Peel them back to the board of directors and you find a connection to a vast monopoly called the IAC. It has owned more than 200 companies. Expedia, Ticketmaster, Vimeo,
Ticketmaster is so fucking evil. They have Ticketmaster unironically used to be like for the little guy, and it used to be like relatively affordable. Obviously, it's a luxury to go to a concert. I'm not saying people should charge it and make it for free. But at the same time, the amount of money they make off of them, and then it doesn't even go back to the like artist or whatever. It's so fucking insane how they get away with this shit.
Tree, Investopedia, All Recipes, Very Well, and more than 40 of the country's biggest media brands. It's the largest digital publisher in America, and you've probably never heard of it.
Holy crap.
And it also owns roughly a quarter of the casino empire MGM Resort.
All roads lead back to gambling.
With connections to Disney, Paramount, Universal, the Washington Post, and Coca-Cola. When I was a kid, what I imagined of love was definitely not this, where the most beautiful thing in life is reduced into a mundane function. It's like how you can reduce the beauty and supernatural awe of a butterfly wing into a scientific byproduct by stripping the eternal mystery and richness from its beauty, just labeling it with scientific terms. This reductionist view is taking over everything.
I wouldn't even say that, because like there's a beauty to analysis. It's that the fact that they're making money off of it and not providing an actual product to you, because I don't think people had an issue with Tinder initially because there was obviously some level or modicum of success to it that justified the price of like, oh, let's say $20 a month and it's like 100 swipes or something. I don't remember people bitching about that like 10, 15 years ago. Not that I used it, but like, I'm just saying now all of a sudden, because it's become like a massive conglomerate and all they want to do is suck your money and your wallet dry, that's all they care about. So yeah, I don't know. Again, it's like the Ticketmaster thing. Ticketmaster started off as like an innocuous, innocent, like normal company just selling tickets for musicians. It gave money to musicians back and took a cut because it was providing a service. And now it's such an absurd service that like nobody wants to pay for it, but they have to because it's a monopoly. Where else are you going to buy your tickets from?
Everything. It's why love is now becoming a series of statistics optimized for a profit-extracting algorithm for something that should really not have an algorithm involved. I mean, just take a moment to think. Love, family, and marriage, the bedrock of civilization, is being altered by one man. So, who are we allowing to alter these very important things? Well, it turns out that Barry Diller is one of America's many elite monopolizers with a net worth of over $5 billion. When Diller talked about Match, he didn't describe a company that helps people find each other. He described a cash flow machine. Its margins were his words, extraordinarily high.
Yeah, I could charge people $80 a month to, like, maybe have a chance at swiping at one woman, and we dictate the algorithm so they basically have a really low chance to swipe, and they don't even know it. Fucking idiot.
This is what it comes down to for them. Your dating life, your romantic chances, your potential of building a family is just a cash flow machine. It's not lost on us that the tech elites is funding the loneliness epidemic they are profiting from, even if it is lost to them. You can see how they don't understand in this interview.
There's been some criticism of dating apps like Tinder. A Vanity Fair called this the dawn of the dating apocalypse. I wonder if you're worried that, the hookup culture and the tyranny of choice might be ruining dating.
Is this the end of anything? Is this the coldness of anything? Cooling down of intimacy or any other, or the endless hookupness that is laid at the feet of dating programs? That's all drivel.
He describes romance.
Is it though? Because eHarmony, for example, started 25 years ago. I just looked it up. And it was like just a place for people to like, talk and meet online if they lived near each other or something. Again, people criticized it and thought about like, oh, well, it's safety and whatever. But like, to say that it's drivel is, man.
As an inefficiency to be solved.
What's wrong
So
with
if you were my
eHarmony when it
age,
first started?
You'd be on these apps? You'd be using Tinder?
Of course I would. Do you think I want to, as I did in my distant youth? Do you think I want to go out and wander around, inefficiently? And by the way, world is not an efficiency or not. It's a boring process.
Nobody's asking for efficiency with this stuff, and it's a mask they hide behind, and Tinder is the proof. First of all, your innermost feelings and sensitive conversations are saved and centralized there. On just Tinder alone, people swipe around 1.6 billion times a day,
What?
roughly 48 billion swipes a month. But
That's insane. I mean, a lot of those could be bots, but still, like, even half of that is insane. A day?
producing about 26 million matches every single day.
What
Every
the
swipe, every
fuck?
tap, every pause is recorded with a timestamp, and one estimate puts the data a single user generates at around 1.5 gigabytes a year.
Wow.
A French journalist called Judith Deportel
And you're signing all those rights away when you sign up. Like, you can't really do anything about it. Maybe, like, people in the EU can, but again, bureaucracy.
used European privacy law to
Bureaucracy.
request everything
Yep.
Tinder had about her life.
Which is
After a
good.
grim battle,
You
they
should have the right to do that if you want to. It's your, like, data.
sent back around
Data,
800
data.
pages of her Facebook likes, her Instagram photos from an account she'd already deleted, her education, the age range of the men she went for, and the time and place of every conversation she'd ever
And
had
this was
with
10
a
years
match.
ago.
The secret was her desirability score, the thing that determines where you're put in the algorithm. If you rate highly, you're pushed to the front. If you rate poorly, your dating life will continue to get worse. And it's probably something that's controlling you right now. You've been on the apps for months,
Holy
if not years
shit.
now. You've had matches, you've had dates, you've spent hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars on all
Yeah, if you're ugly, you just get fucked. If you're ugly, you get pushed back down on the algorithm. Yeah.
of it. So what are you left
Hot
with?
or
Well,
not,
there's two
yeah.
options. You're either isolated, afraid of speaking to people in real life, constantly overthinking your photos. Maybe my funny vanilla prompt is the problem. Maybe I don't look cultured enough, but I am cultured. If only they could see the real me. So you keep changing your
Sad.
profile, agonizing over your new intro lines, your new game.
There's also services where they make profiles for you. So not only are you, let's say hypothetically, you're using like two different ones a month, and they both cost $50. It's $100 a month. And then to top it off, you want to pay someone to make you a profile. That's probably another, like, I don't know, maybe $50, maybe more.
strategy as your matches get worse and worse. You know you can do better than this, but the algorithm says no. This is what you deserve. You deserve to beg for the response of someone you're not even attracted to. Or secondly, maybe you're one of the lucky ones and finally struck it off with someone. They then become your partner. In the back of your mind, you're always aware that they weren't the top choice, or the one you actually wanted, but you're the one the algorithm made you settle for. And as you begin to fall in love with them and imagine your future with them, sometimes a thought will occur to you. Man, was I lucky to find her. Or was I? How long had she been on the app for? How many people had she been talking to? How many...
I mean, is it your fault for thinking that, or is that the fault of the dating profile? Because normal people don't think like that when they meet people. It's the app's fault for basically digging at your insecurities and making you think like that. Both? Well, yeah, I mean, sure, there's a level of insecurity that normal people do have, but at the same time, I feel like if you meet quote-unquote normally, it's not gonna happen, or at least I hope not, because that's really toxic, and that's a really bad way of thinking, like, oh, well, I was the second choice because he had, like, 6 girlfriends or something. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't think like that. You just shouldn't, period.
profiles did she go through? How easy was it for other men?
Not the apps? Yeah, it is, because you become desensitized this and think like this because of the way that the algorithm or the app functions. I think there is some merit to it.
To do the exact
It's not
same
all
thing
your
as
fault.
me.
It's
Besides,
really not.
I'm not really that special or attractive, so if I could do it, what about everyone else? And if that's the case, then how easy will it be when we have an argument, things go bad, or distance pushes us apart for her to be taken away by those same people on that very same app? Or you think about all the other women you've seen on those apps. What if the one you chose wasn't actually the best one? You know there were hotter people with better personalities who were more thought-provoking.
When you're looking for a partner in real life, you form deeper connections as opposed to swiping repeatedly and just looking at people based on appearance. You don't know what you're going to get. You're just basically being forced to hypothetically make the argument in your head like, oh, well, this chick's really hot, but what if she was crazier? Or, oh, my current girlfriend that I found on Tinder makes me feel really good about myself, but she's like a 4 out of 10. You know what I mean? I think it sucks. I do think it's like it's a psychological inducement. Induction, I think that's the word.
Kinder, smarter, more empathetic. What if you match them instead? Why are you committing to this one if you could have done better? There's thousands of people waiting for you to message them. So why are you putting all of your chips on this one if you're not even sure they're that great to begin with? The honeymoon phase slowly passes and you argue more, you shout at each other, you lose the attraction and eventually break apart. And as you sit in your room where you started, you're alone, isolated and bored, feeling time slip through your fingers. So you download Hinge and begin the process again. As for your data, well, that's moved at will across the entire monopoly. A 2020 investigation found Tinder was sharing user information with at least 45 companies owned by Match Group, and that OkCupid was—
I think it's so gross that one company can just own all of it. And again, you know what's funny? Before they had the conglomerate that had every dating app that was owned by like one group, it was still owned by the group of people that all talked and worked with each other before. Like, I think Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, all 3 of the CEOs, I think it was like 2 women and like 1 man, or like it was like 6 women and 6 men. They all owned all these, you know, dating apps or whatever. I don't know all of them, but they all basically just like talked with each other and were like, yeah, you know, like, it wasn't a competition more so, it's just them making money off of people. It wasn't like a competitive market.
passing users' sexuality, drug use, and political views to an outside analytics company.
What?
Each of those apps sorts you in a slightly different way, but the goal is always the same: rank people and decide who gets placed in front of who. Tinder does it with a desirability score. OkCupid asks you hundreds of questions and turns your answers into a compatibility percentage. Hinge uses a Nobel Prize-winning economic theory from the 1960s called the Gale-Shapley algorithm, in which everyone in the pool ranks everyone else, and the app pairs people off in rounds. Here is the current CEO explaining how the monopoly appears to give you freedom of choice.
So you have a portfolio of dating apps. And one of the things that I've always been curious about is, and look, I'm married, so I don't know. What is the distinction in your mind between the different apps? What's the differences?
Our 2 biggest apps are Hinge.
Why lie about your profile? I never said anything about lying. Why are you asking me that? I don't understand.
And Tinder. So Hinge is for the intentional dater.
People feel bad about like watching or enjoying different things. Like, yeah, but I don't understand.
the tagline is the app that's designed to be deleted. It's supposed to be your last dating app. Tinder is supposed to be your first dating app. Tinder is for possibilities. You might find your soulmate there, you might find a short-term relationship, you might find anywhere in between.
So as you continue using these apps, as you continue to go on dates with people you don't even really like or care about, once your relationships end and you realize there was no spark or magic to begin with, you wonder about your parents, your grandparents, your great-grand.
Yeah, they didn't use anything. They met people in real life. Yeah. Again, people lie all the time about stuff to gas themselves up. Like, people have been doing it before, you know, dating apps were a thing. It's just that now it's a lot easier to lie, unfortunately. And when you meet someone that you get catfished on, it just hurts a lot more.
Grandparents, the generations of humans.
Why do you think people like lie on like job applications? Because it gets you ahead. Yeah, obviously you're probably going to get fired from your job if you get caught, but, you know, it works. It does work, objectively.
Thousands of years that formed relationships with the spark of magic in real life. Looking across the room, making eye contact, working up the courage, the resilience, and the mental fortitude to take what you want and risk it all for a future together. But instead, you're falling into this man's plan for you, where the meaning and beauty of your life essence is replaced with simulations of it, decorating your cage so that you think your place in the servant class is freedom. You outsource your thinking to AI, you outsource your experiences to videos at home, you outsource your yearning for companionship to a subscription. And in the process,
well, people seek validation. That's a human nature thing. Men and women do seek validation, women more so than men on average. But that's just like basic psychology. Why do you think people watch like streamers or like people that they watch podcasts or listen to podcasts? Because they want to feel validated. They want to feel like they have their opinions matter.
Says forget the basic skills of life, how to signal interest, escalate, move through dating to marriage, then be happy in marriage. I mean, just look up, stop for a moment and reflect on it yourself. Take in the psychological dependence you have given to the screen in front of you. It's unprecedented, and unprecedented things have unprecedented consequences. So I have to ask you, was all this prosperity worth it? Did you really want these changes? Or are you beginning to realize that maybe the endless choice and consumption is destroying you? Maybe there's a reason successful people who get everything they want destroy themselves again and again. Maybe there's a reason the richest countries in the world...
Maybe there's a reason why billionaires do really heinous and weird shit once they hit around about $1 billion net worth. Yeah, I don't know. I saw a skit on Instagram of a guy sitting in his chair, and then it says POV, you're about to hit $1 billion net worth. And then he's just sitting there, and then like the counter goes up to $1 billion, and all of a sudden he like gets on the phone and he's like, all right, so I want to fuck it. It just cuts off, and I'm like, I wonder why all these weird billionaires get bored of having too much money. I wonder what happens in your brain. You get bored. You want to do heinous shit to get that dopamine back up.
Euthanizing their own people.
Well,
maybe the convenience is making you dependent. Maybe it is why you feel numb and never really free. Maybe that's why they keep you addicted to the work from home, AI best friend, dating app addict,
AI
Uber
best
Eats consuming
friend. And that's not even a lie. There's so many dudes and girls that talk to AI girlfriends and boyfriends all the time. That's not even like it's an outrageous thing to say, Alana. It's like an actual statistic. There's lots of people. There's people who have screenshots of people in public talking to their AI girlfriend or boyfriend.
And dopamine-fried lifestyle without substance or meaningful life satisfaction. So the question is, what sort of man would be designing this world for us to live in? Before creating the IAC, Barry founded Fox Broadcasting with Rupert Murdoch. He was a director at Coca-Cola and spent over a decade on the board of the Washington Post alongside Warren Buffett.
When I met...
Dude, what's gonna happen with the dinosaurs that fucking die off eventually, man? They're just gonna get replaced by a new dinosaur.
Rupert, I'd always wanted to start a fourth network because I thought the three networks were boring. And he said, great. I said, what do you mean great? He said, do it. Well, we have to buy these stations. It'll cost $1 billion.
So, okay, you have $1 billion, sir.
50. And he said, do it. What could be better?
Despite being 84 years old, look at how many companies he's still part of. He started his career at a Hollywood talent agency called William Morris. By 32, he was running Paramount Pictures as the youngest studio chief executive in Hollywood history. He oversaw Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and many other iconic films and TV shows. He was even responsible for bringing The Simpsons onto the TV at 20th Century Fox. This is an old school entertainment tycoon through and through, someone you don't become through kindness and goodwill alone. His ferocious style frightened his colleagues who
He doesn't actually care about like the actual worth of entertainment and making it fun, because all these things, every single one of these things, Indiana Jones and Simpsons specifically, they're not good anymore. They're dead, or the franchise is dead, or like it's just on its last legs. It hasn't been good in a long time.
He knew him as Killer Dilla. According to Time magazine, his style was allegedly to be blunt, brutal, and quick to humiliate. He tested people by dropping them into jobs far bigger than they were ready for and watching whether they sank or swim.
I discovered fairly early that the best organizational process was to get smart, snappy people in a room who have opinion and get them clanging against each other with their opinion.
The ones who swam became the most powerful executives in Hollywood. His deputies were called the Killer Dillas.
I've always thought that the best arranging room for that is a group of people who are in conflict with each other, usually past their point of endurance, meaning the longer you push it, I found over time that when you push people somewhat past their endurance, when they like say, oh, please, can I go home? And you won't let them go home, interesting things happen after that.
Michael Eisner was his second in command at Paramount.
It's kind of weird, but okay. What the fuck? You won't let them go home because you want more ideas? What?
Who left to take over Disney, then a fading studio, and
yeah, I can see why this motherfucker makes a lot of money. He like makes people suffer, and then they make ideas for him because they're at their last like mental state.
Turned it into the behemoth it is today. Katzenberg was another one of his proteges. He then ran Disney's film studio and co-founded DreamWorks with Steven Spielberg.
I love the superimposition of the Disney like Mickey Mouse ears. It kind of reminds me of people doing devil horns behind people's hair. Like he's a Mickey Mouse, he's Satan.
Another ally, Dawn Steele, became the
first
first woman to ever run a major Hollywood studio when she took charge of Columbia Pictures. He trained the people running Hollywood. He's also a massive Democratic Party donor and member of the Council on Foreign Relations, the elite foreign policy body once chaired by David Rockefeller. He placed the ex-president's daughter, Chelsea Clinton, onto the boards of two of his own companies.
What?
His wife is a princess by first marriage. Old European aristocracy folded into new American money. And his inner Hollywood circle was so powerful that rivals nicknamed it the Velvet Mafia. He also has close allies.
The manager of Michael Jackson and Dolly Parton.
It the Velvet Mafia. He also has close allies in the tech industry, as this is what he said about Bill Gates.
Actually, that's not fair to Bill, who I like very much.
You do. That guy that releases mosquitoes with like diseases. Yeah, very admirable traits. Am I right, fellas?
I respect a great deal. Usually, I think people do not grow. I think they kind of, by the time they're sentient, they're relatively fully. Gates has grown enormously in so many areas of empathy, but he was mean and relentless. He is no longer that. He's a solid citizen of today and tomorrow.
This came out in September 2025, not long before Gates was engulfed by the Epstein files a few months later. Dilla did also say how he was ferocious and understood leverage.
Did you ever see anyone more competitive and aggressive than him in his heyday?
At that time, he was truly ferocious, and he understood leverage. Anybody who's in any world of commanding revolutionizing a world, which Gates certainly did, has got that quality.
Through Dilla's life, you can see how the dominant corporate forces in this world are
Isn't it terrifying that we're all living in their world and we're just like pawns in it? Like, even millionaires don't play in the same playing field as these people. Yeah, millionaires are beneath them. Yeah, we're a big gay club and we're not in it. That's right.
created, often in deals behind locked doors that you have no say in. The whole group assembles every year at a party Dilla and his wife throw in Beverly Hills the night before the Oscars. The guests have included
Oscars are so gay, man. They're not like, oh, LGBT gay. They're just fucking stupid and lame, bro. It's such like nepotistic, like jerking and sucking each other off.
Oprah Winfrey, Bradley Cooper, Diana Ross, and the former head of Google,
Yeah,
Eric
like
Schmidt.
most awards.
The next
yeah,
level
fucking
up from
suck.
that
It's
this
like the pinnacle of suck. Yeah.
lockdown resort in Sun Valley, Idaho, where a boutique investment bank called Alana Company hosts a private invitation-only
yeah.
retreat that the press calls the Billionaire Summer Camp. No cameras are allowed inside, but the private jets stack up at the local airport, and security seals off the grounds.
How do you know you found a super secret conference full of millionaires and billionaires in the middle of scenic Idaho? Well, you just count the private jets. This is Sun Valley, Idaho. Population 1,400. But every July, the net worth of this town gets a major boost when the Allen & Company Conference, also known as Summer Camp for Billionaires, is in session.
The guest list is a roll call of everyone who owns the modern age.
That's
Jeff
crazy,
Bezos, Bill Gates,
man.
Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook, Sam
Elon
Altman,
Musk.
Peter Thiel, Alex Karp from Palantir, Daniel Ek from
Palantir!
Spotify, Rupert Murdoch.
I still can't really get over the fact that the guy that is like owns, like, Palantir is such a massive company. They use AI and have so much data, and they analyze and they work with governments and all this shit, right? Palantir is the word from Lord of the Rings, right? The all-seeing eyeball, and it's evil. It's an evil all-seeing eyeball, and they named it after a company. Yeah, like, it's so on the nose. It's not the stone, it's the eye. Yeah. The stone itself is called something else, isn't it? But like this all-seeing eye, the seeing thing.
Son Lachlan, who owns Fox News, even former directors of the CIA. The full list published by Forbes is just absolutely mind-blowing.
The organizers will never confirm who's actually
Oh wait, never mind. I just looked it up. It is the seeing stone. It's the Palantir. Yeah, okay. I was right the first time. Yes, the seeing stones are the Palantir.
here. So the only way to know is actually to stand outside and watch them walk in. Tesla's Elon Musk, Disney's Bob Iger, CBS's Les Moonves, and Home Depot co-founder Ken Langone.
Home Depot.
These are probably some of the busiest
He's the guy that sells me my rope.
people on the planet. So I had one question. Why are they all here?
And that is the question. The answer is, of course, networking and high-profile deal-making. Dilla has been on the list for years, with Hollywood Reporter recently capturing a photo of him riding a bike around the grounds. And everything he'd learned from the elites was primed for the world of online dating. It began with the TV shopping channel QVC.
I had only known you use screens for telling stories. That's what screens were for. I'd never known interactivity, and there I was seeing it in its primitive emergence at QVC.
This was key for not only dating, but the screen-dominated transactional modern era that we live in. QVC was the prelude, and you can see how Dilla's instinct told him that human interactions were about to change forever.
That interactivity, using screens for something other than telling stories, knocked me cold. And then, serendipitously, a few months later, I was offered to buy QVC, and I said, I now know what I'm going to do.
Everyone thought he was
I'm gonna
crazy, but he saw how
do
shopping was
more
about to move onto
interactivity.
the TV screen. He knew the direction the world was heading in, and
Oh my
internet
God.
dating was the logical next step to establish a bigger stake in that world. He used that same word primitive to describe what he believed online dating would take off too.
Was there a defining early transaction other than QVC and HSN in those days that you think back on?
There are the early obvious ones now, but Match.com, personals, which was also something at that time that was very, very so early stage and so primitive. And
Primitive.
again, just a good idea.
After pouring cash into
Yeah, I pour a bunch of money into a early development thing where I can find the need to I make even more money from my millions and millions and billions of dollars. And then what I do is I take those billions and billions of dollars from movies and all this crap and put it into dating. I know so much about dating. I know there's a human need for connection. I know there's a human need for entertainment. Yes! Yes, I love money.
the Match Group, they built Tinder in-house and went on to acquire OkCupid, then Plenty of Fish, then Hinge, and other global dating brands.
Yep.
Tinder itself was built in 2012 inside Hatch Labs, an incubator the IAC set up and paid for. It had a small team, including a guy
Fully implemented introduction. See, I told you, chat. I told you, Tinder used to be free. I remember looking it up because I was really curious. Yeah, Tinder used to not be subscription based. It got shitted up within 3 years. That is insane to think about, man.
IAC set up and paid for. It had a small team, including a guy called Jonathan
Tinder isn't free. No, open your ears. I said it was free. It became a subscription thing.
Badin, who came up with the swipe designed to feel like flickering through a deck of cards.
Yeah, YouTube
which
used to
tapped
not
into
have
our
ads.
compulsive gambling behavior. And so, really to understand what IAC does with these companies, let's take a look at one of its other notorious companies in Ticketmaster. IAC
Yeah,
owned
Ticketmaster is a
Ticketmaster for
good one.
years, then spun it
Look,
off,
it's
and
so
it became
old.
part of Live Nation, which dominates event tickets in the West. Everyone points fingers at Ticketmaster for their endless fees and their awful behavioral pricing, but as exposed by an FTC
It can also sense desperation when you're trying to buy a ticket for a certain thing. They have an algorithm that pushes for desperation and offers you higher prices if it kind of like Uber. Even though they deny it and say that there is no algorithmic push, they still do it. And again, it's so hard to prove unless you take them to court, which basically never happens at this point.
probe in 2024, it's Live Nation who are pulling the strings, locking artists into exclusive deals, using those artists to lock venues into exclusive ticketing contracts, and then threatening venues that try to work with anyone else. Going to any big
Dynamic
concert
pricing.
or festival means fighting pricing algorithms and interfaces that rip you off or straight up don't work when you get to the front of the queue. Tinder was built in the same image. Find something people can't live without, take over the platform dominating it, and then squeeze everyone.
Squeeze
Ticketmaster is the
everybody's
events
balls.
you love to attend. Dating apps are literally love itself. Once they own the market, they tightened their grip. Tinder started free, but then it added Tinder Plus, then Tinder Gold, then Boost, a way to pay
Tinder Diamond. Tinder Diamond was the thing that we talked about a couple of years ago that they implemented maybe like in 2021 or 22. And it's like $300 a month. And it's like the exclusive unlock.
to jump the queue.
For, like,
Money
rich
was
people.
flowing from members'
It's
pockets
insane.
into the dividends for shareholders. The IAC's ultimate goal was monopolizing industries and making billions.
Yeah, $200 or $300,
That is exactly
I think.
what
Yeah.
happened with Match
Something
Group.
insane.
But it gets worse from here. This relationship wasn't going to last. Dilla unexpectedly began to cut ties, though that wouldn't help anything inside the company itself. In 2015, IAC floated Match Group on the stock market, selling a minority stake to the public and keeping control of the rest. In 2020, they then spun Match off as its own company. When the split was completed, Diller personally held 16 million shares and gradually sold them for a total of about $1.9 billion. His timing as ever was flawless. Tinder's own founders had sued Match and IAC for $2 billion, accusing Diller's company of deliberately lowballing Tinder's value to cheat them out of what their stakes were worth. The case settled in 2022 for an insane $441 million, and then within months of Diller's last share leaving his hands,
I wonder how he got this information to early on so he could do this. It's almost like they all talk between each other when they're going to go when they're gonna go do something. You should sell right now. He's just really smart. Yeah, you're right. He's just so smart. He's so much more smart than us.
So Barry Diller has no stake in Match Group today, and no say in how it runs. He owned it, grew it, took his billions, and then left at the perfect moment. So what do you want from all of this? Well, he told us himself.
Just out of there.
Your love life. Those lonely nights you spend swiping. The partners that you'll meet, it's all just a giant cash flow machine where you're just another insignificant cog to generate him unfathomable wealth. And so what we're seeing today, with people more lonely than ever, with the population about to completely collapse in size, with people having less families than ever before, it all starts to make sense. You see, back in 2000, two psychologists ran an experiment in a supermarket. On one Saturday, they set out 6 jars of jam for people to taste. On another, they set out 24, and that big display pulled in far more attention, with people crowding around it. But only 3% of them actually bought a jar. At the small display, 30% did. Barry Schwartz wrote a book called The Paradox of Choice on this finding.
It's scarcity. Yeah, why more is less. Yep. Yeah, I can see that. That's why at farmers markets, they actually hide their stock and they only have so much set out at the table. Even if, like say you're going to buy honey, right? And you say this is organic honey and it's all like, you know, flowery and shit, right? Oh, it's made with like honeys that are from local bees and blah, 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 blah. They all have it under the table because psychologically they only set out like 5 different ones. You don't want to overcrowd it. Yeah, the psychology is very understandable. 3 left in stock by now? No, not even that. It's the implication. They won't. You can't exactly lie to the customer because you can get in trouble for like quite literally lying to someone and saying only 3 left in stock and then you pull them out, right? Like you can get caught and sued for that and stuff. But you can make the illusion and psychologically imply that you only have so many. Yeah, it's smart. It's smart psychology. It's not illegal, but it is yeah, it's like FOMO. But like FOMO is more induced, I would say.
We assume more options means more freedom, but past a certain ceiling, it inverts. With more options, your expectations inflate because you want to whittle it down to the very best option to invest.
True.
As Schwartz put it, choice stops liberating you and starts debilitating you.
I would even argue like picking food out like at DoorDash is how they paralyze you with like the option of choice when you're like, say you're ordering food or you go into a restaurant and there's just so many dishes and you don't know what to get. Like it's like actual, like you don't know what to do. You're stun locked. You're in a kidney shop for 5 seconds and the rope comes out and blinds you.
In the dating world, this affects men the most. We all know they outnumber women on the platforms massively, meaning the paradox of choice for women is much more intense.
True.
Which inevitably pushes some men to the margins where they're never chosen. But it gets so much worse than that, because there's also the matter of how they abuse your trust and personal data. In a case settled in 2025 for $14 million, the Federal Trade Commission accused the Match Group of sending non-paying users fake notifications that someone had liked them, essentially bait to make them subscribe. When men
Oh my god, nearly 500,000 subscriptions were purchased within 24 hours of receiving such misleading advertisements. Dude, they made hand over fist type of money. That's so fucking weird. They got away with this too, I'm sure. They only had to pay like a little like $1 million fine. I'm sure they're probably great. They're doing great.
Many of those
That's so
messages were actually
evil.
coming from accounts Match had already flagged as scams. Nearly 90% turned out to be fraudulent. Almost 500,000 people bought a subscription within a day of getting one. Darker still, when a 16-month investigation found that Match checks the users of its paid service against sex offender registries, but does not do the same on its free versions.
Cause fuck the pores, am I right, fellas?
There are, they admitted,
Fuck the
definitely
poor,
registered
fuck
sex
the
offenders they can
peasants!
identify to users, but simply don't. When Match finally
Yep.
added a way to check a date's background, they remarkably planned to charge for it. One major lawsuit in 2024 claimed the apps were deliberately engineered to be addictive.
And that popular dating apps Tinder, Hinge, and The League are portrayed by their owner Match Group as effective tools for establishing off-app relationships while secretly doing everything in its power to capture and sustain paying subscribers.
Well, yeah, obviously. That's why that's why Instagram and TikTok and whatever else, it wants to keep you on the app as long as possible. Even though like TikTok and Instagram are free, the amount of time you spend swiping is equivalent to you paying them money or, you know, whatever, because you're giving them data and like a lot of analysis like to your life and your habits. Every time you swipe, it's something that the algorithm learns about you. You can't get away with it, basically. Like you can't get away from it, basically.
Keep them on app. Ryan Clarkson is
Your data
representing
is
the 6
invaluable.
plaintiffs.
Match used the fine print in its terms of service to force the case into private arbitration away from a courtroom where it ended. And AI is only beginning to turn the screw on this terrible
AI
situation.
agents.
In late 2025, Tinder announced a new AI
Facebook does
system
that?
called
Yep.
Chemistry. To use it, you let the app scan your entire camera roll, it then runs facial recognition to find you, then writes up an internal description of your personality, your interests, and your
I told you they didn't like the middlemen doing the writing up the Tinder bios that I told you about that people like actually paid for. They instead want to implement this shit and make you pay for it inside of their own ecosystem. It's insane.
life. Tinder called it a way to read your vibe. But
Your
it's being
vibe!
described as a surveillance
Your
system
vibe.
dressed up as a personality quiz, training a behavioral model on your images. Match built it after partnering with OpenAI.
Yep.
In 2025, the man who built Hinge announced he was leaving to start something that we mentioned earlier, Overtone. And the pitch rejects everything here. There are no profiles, photos, or swiping. The AI just simply interviews you by voice, learns your story in your own words, then tries to pair you off. His words are Overtone is not a dating app. They say it's not algorithmic, but of course it is. It just uses AI models instead. And unsurprisingly, Match Group led the round and holds a substantial ownership position. Spencer Raskoff is of course on Overtone's board.
You're not allowed to have this opinion, sweetie. Change your bio, otherwise you're gonna get banned off of Overtone or whatever the fuck it's called. Change your opinion.
Was incubated inside Hinge using Match's money and Match's internal data over the course of a year before being spun out as its own company. So what's the end game of all of this? AI companions, AI girlfriends, a world devoid of natural love, or the artificial version is pushed via subscription?
God.
Raskoff was actually forced to answer the
My
question.
AIGF will never hurt me because she will never say anything that goes against my, I don't know, like my psyche, because it always wants to be there for me. She loves me so very, very much. My AIGF would never hurt my fifis.
Himself.
Do you think that people are going to use AI almost as agents on behalf
Am
of
I crazy or is like iris fucked up? Is that like a condition? No offense, I don't. No, I'm just curious. Is that like a thing? You have like a blown out iris?
themselves to go communicate to the person that
It's a
they are
thing.
trying to match
He's a
up
lizard.
with?
Okay, I don't
So
wanna be
that,
mean,
they
okay?
make the language exactly what they think the other person wants, and then eventually, are we both going to have agents talking to each other to figure out whether we match or not? Or is that what you're supposed to do on the back end?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's a bit
It's
of a
a lizard.
dystopian future. I don't think we're headed towards. The way we look at AI is it gets you to the good stuff faster.
Notice here how he says it's not quite as dystopian as is being suggested, which is an admission in itself.
So, I don't think it'll be my AI talking to your AI, but I do think it'll be my AI helping me.
My AI. I love the way they're framing this too. Like, my AI is gonna communicate with your AI to give you the best match possible. And it's just gonna be AI fucking talking to each other. It's like, oh my god, just go outside and talk. Oh wait, everybody's on this fucking bullshit, so I can't go outside.
It kind of giving me advice, almost like a trusted friend.
Right.
As
We are spiraling into AI psychosis. It's already a proven thing, but like, this is so terrifying, man.
I'm connecting with people, which can be difficult and scary for people. So it's not quite as dystopian, but it is AI infused, AI informed.
It's telling that they only use AI when it makes them money. Here's an ironic moment when Dilla describes his stake in MGM casinos as being a wonderful investment because no tech can get between a human and gambling.
We bought 24% of MGM. And why does that appeal to me? Because you can't disintermediate it. Because you give me any AI equation, and I will tell you, irrelevant to this. No one's going to get between going to an MGM resort, let's call it particularly Las Vegas, in which we have a huge share of Las Vegas. We have 11 properties in Las Vegas. No tech is getting between that and a human.
He was protecting his...
I think he's scared, because at the same time, I think that, like, yeah, it will actually. He's unironically having, like, a boomer take. No, this tech isn't gonna get in between me and my $billion gambling investment that I've had for like 40 years that makes me billions and billions of dollars. Yeah, like, yeah, I make money, AI good. I don't make money, AI bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, like there's online gambling sites all the fucking time. Like, this fucking everywhere. They make billions of dollars. You're just mad they're probably taking away his money.
Fortune from the very thing he spent a career building. That's what the elites do. They hedge their bets against the very things they participate in creating and destroying. So let's take a step back from this and think about the barriers between you and another human being. The mountains you have to scale to do the very basics expected of you. The people who write the new rules gather at secret parties, make deals the outside world isn't informed of, and are very often the same group who also decides what fills your feed in the morning and what gets treated as news. Dating has always been uncomfortable and often painful, but it had a well-defined goal for both men and women. That goal is being ripped away, and once you see how the business works, it's obvious why. A world full of happy endings and happy people is not as profitable as this world. The entire experience is built to keep you always close, always hopeful, but always one step away. One in 5 adults now don't even have close friends at all, roughly double the figure from the 90s. A quarter of young men say they felt lonely for much of the previous day.
Yeah, I talked about this.
60% of men under 30 are single. And the technology isn't trying to cure this. Because when a person feels settled and actually connected in real life and finds someone in real life, a great partner, they close all of these apps and never come back. The industry wouldn't exist if people happily met in real life and developed beautiful relationships. And because of this, we are now all suffering from the consequences.
What about the poor men that blow their head schmoove off? Yeah, what about that? Like, that's a statistic too, man. I'm telling you, it's really, really sad. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I have hope that maybe it implodes, but you know, the world keeps going around and round and round, and we're just playing their stupid game. They're on a gay club and we're not in it. Hopium, I have hopium, chat. Go outside. You'll find your waifu. If you stop watching VTubers tomorrow, specifically me, I won't get mad. I get it. I want you to be happy. You're a doomer and you're making us doomers. I don't think I'm dooming. I think he's presenting facts. I think there's a merit of like... Yeah, sure, dooming is like realism and you're looking at facts and seeing how it's been like this for 20 years, but I don't think that it's exclusive to you as a person to follow a path that might dictate a lot of people's paths. You can break the cycle. You can do something about it. What doomer am I supposed to watch then? I can't help myself. I'm dooming, I'm dooming, I'm dooming, I'm gooning, I'm dooming, I'm gooning. Yep. It was a good video. Go check them out. Haven't seen one in a long time. That was a good video. I think it's well produced. It presents facts, and it makes me wonder why the hell we have all these people that... all these people that just have so much money and control everything. Entertainment, romance, love. Nope.